yeah, I would.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you're all aware that
Oh,
we're being recorded tonight.
well, I mean, the thing is, Eric, your parks are getting tremendous investment from the bond and other sources that Sugar House Park hasn't been blessed with, except through the normal CIP process. Um, I mean, millions are going into Fairmont Park and Allen Park, for example, on the trail. But I mean, there's a great deal of goodwill for Sugar House Park, and we believe we can develop philanthropic sources beyond our traditional city and county sources. But it takes time, and Roxy and I are the primary grant writers. So, I'm retired, but she isn't. So that's an issue. Um,
Yeah,
the
I think you
other,
might be missing what I'm saying. I'm hopeful that it actually would get approved, but let's let Sally start the meeting,
Yeah.
and then if it comes up, maybe um, we can retouch it then. But yeah,
Okay.
hopefully you guys can get
S-
approved and utilize
Sarah,
that.
Sarah, can you do me a favor? Can you hear me? Sarah? She's got herself muted.
Hey, Sally, I'm just in the car, almost home. But yes,
Oh, okay.
I can
Maybe
hear
then
you.
let me ask Mike if he can do it. Um,
Okay.
Kira is telling me she didn't get the Zoom invite. Can you
Okay.
forward it to her for me?
Uh,
Or
to
I,
Kira,
yeah, to Kira Johnson. Uh,
do you have an email that I can use for
I
that?
can do.
let's see.
I saw her. I just saw her. I'll do it. I saw
Oh,
her respond that I'll be there, and so I can
yes.
find
Can
her
you do
email.
it? Because I can't I can't figure out how to do that when
Yeah,
I'm in the
yeah.
middle of the Zoom. But if you
No,
can
I'll
forward
work.
it, why, that'd be great.
I'll work on that.
I
Hang
mean,
on.
Thank you.
Richard here, I can do it.
Somebody, because she's going to be probably the main one we want to talk to tonight. So if someone can send that to her, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I just did.
Okay, I won't then. See if that
And
works.
here's Roxy also. Hey, Kira. We just forwarded, someone in the meeting just forwarded it to you. See if you see. They sent it to your email. Do you see it? Okay, great. Okay, sorry about that. I reached out to you, but then I guess when it came time to send the Zoom invite, I didn't get your name on the list. Sorry. Okay. Okay, thanks. Bye. All right. Um, do we need to do introductions, do you think? Nods, yes. Okay. All right. Why don't you start?
Yeah, I'm here representing Allen Park. So I'm Friends of Allen Park. I'm a public land steward at Allen Park, feed peacocks regularly, live right next door, so I see what's going on. And so that's who I am.
Okay. Okay. And Matthew, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey, sure thing. Thanks, Sally. This is my first time at this meeting. I'm just kind of learning about Sugar House Community Council, and like I mentioned to Sally before the meeting, I'm working on a project with Landon on summarizing these meetings and creating minutes for them. So that's why I'm here today, and that's why I requested the ability to record. So I'll send out a little summary of this meeting after to Sally, and if you want to share it with the group, you can.
Great. Okay. And so, for those of you who've just joined, we are being recorded tonight. So be careful what you say. It'll be part of the public record. Okay. Let's see, Mike.
Hey, Mike Rubin. This is also my first meeting, I think, sort of. I'm mostly here on behalf of my wife, Sarah, who you can probably hear in the background as she's walking into the house at the moment. But we're from Friends of Fairmont, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay, Lori.
My name is Laurie Bray, and I'm a trustee on the Sugar House Community Council. I run the Arts and Culture Committee, but I'm also on the jury to select the art that's going to connect McClelland and Fairmont Park. So that has been fun.
Okay, Eric.
Hey, I'm Eric McGill. I'm the peanut board representative for District 7 and live over here in Highland Park on Alden Street. So good to see the gang.
Okay, Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer LaPatarel. I am just a community member around the street from the park, so interested and excited to listen in.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jerry.
Hi, I'm Jerry Martinez. I'm one of the neighbors, and I just wanted to be a part of it tonight.
Woohoo! We're glad you're here, Cabot.
Hi there, Cabot Nelson. Live right next to Fairmont Park and looking forward to seeing what's happening.
Okay, Roxy, are you able to get I'm not sure if she can. She was saying something about not being able to get her microphone going. Let's do Linda next. Linda, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Linda Collins, and I live on Simpson Avenue, and my backyard is these wretched tennis courts.
Okay, Megan. Let's see if I don't know if I can unmute. So, okay, Sarah Woolsey? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey you guys, Sarah Woolsey with Friends of Fairmont Park. Nice to see you.
Okay, all right. Well, why don't we just get started right away with Kira? Have you introduced yourself, Kira?
I'll introduce myself now if I'm going first.
Perfect.
Hi everyone. I have met most of you there on this call, but there's a few new faces and names. My name is Kira Johnson. I am a planner with Public Lands Department and the project manager for this Fairmont Park improvement project. And I'm excited to share a final design with you all. Maybe just preface that while I'm happy to hear comments, the public input period has concluded and we may be able to make some minor changes, but for the most part, we've tried to incorporate all the comments that we've heard throughout months of engagement already. And we know that we're not going to please everybody, but hopefully there's something that excites everyone. And yeah, I'll go ahead and share a document. And this document will be shared publicly, broadly. There's a few, I just got it at the end of last week. And so there's a few edits that I need to make to it before I publish it on our project page. But oh, it says that sharing is not turned on. So I'll send that request.
That work?
It looks like that is working now, yeah. Well, we'll find out once I share. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna minimize the videos of everybody, so if you like raise a hand or something, I won't be able to see it. So feel free to just unmute. And now I need to remember how to go full screen with this. Okay, here we go. The first part of this presentation I'm going to go through fairly quickly. Sally, how much time do I have?
The other folks are just giving them real brief updates from their areas, so you can have most of the hour, a good half
Okay.
hour at least.
Okay, cool.
And do you think it would work best if everyone holds their questions until the end, or does it matter?
If it's a broad kind of like a global question, let's maybe hold that to the end. If it's specific to the page that I'm on, it may be best just to ask me while I'm on that page.
Okay.
But like I said, I won't be able to see your hand, so just feel free to unmute yourself if you do have a question. Okay, so this isn't really set up as a presentation. It's more set up as like a booklet. So there's more words than I want to, than I want to read for everybody. But I'll just start by just reminding everyone about what this project is about. And this project was originally funded through the GO bond that passed a couple years ago. And some money was set aside specifically for Fairmont Park improvements, focusing on that north edge where the dilapidated tennis courts currently are, and how the park interacts with that north edge, with the Boys and Girls Club, with the aquatic center, that parking lot area. And then as another bucket of money from the bond is reimagining neighborhood parks. And Councilmember Young selected Fairmont Park as the park that would get extra funding from that bucket of money, and focusing on safety improvements throughout the park. And then in addition to that, there was a CIP that was funded, that was applied for by a community member, and it was funded to replace the existing half-court basketball with a full-court basketball, and exploring more opportunities with that active use. So we've done several rounds of community engagement, and based on that engagement, we developed these guiding principles, creating a sense of arrival, preserving what is loved by the community today, encouraging a safe, accessible, and welcoming park, enhance spaces for community gathering, play, and relaxation, and expand park users to bring more eyes on the park, and last, to build a resilient, sustainable park. Our consultants, as well as staff members, did a very detailed inventory and analysis of the park. And like I said, this document's going to be online, so I'm not going to go into detail about it. But we looked at the amenities within the park, the restrooms, pavilions. We looked at the pathways. We looked at the slopes around the park, the embankments, the fencing, etc. We looked at how much pavement there was within the park area. We looked at the tree canopy, and we looked at how much of the park was lawn. And based on that analysis, developed some goals aligned with those guiding principles that we'd heard from community members. And so those design goals you'll see reflected in the concept design. We had two main rounds of community engagement with community meetings, stakeholder meetings, survey, and little pop-up, encouraging people to take that survey. And the first community engagement round was really trying to understand what's beloved by the community currently and what improvements they wish to see within the park. And we got some great feedback, which guided the concept designs, which we presented 3 different designs to community members based on that. And the 3 different concept designs really represented a variety of different park configurations, diverse programming, and varying levels of the naturalization throughout the park. So how much lawn versus native plants and water-wise landscaping was being used. And feedback that we'd received really highlighted that there needed to be a stronger experience along Sugarmont Drive, and that the restrooms were not always safe and usable. And so that's something that you'll see reflected in the final concept as well. And I just want to quickly highlight some of the many of you probably saw these three concepts, and I wanted to highlight what from each concept in general people liked. So in this first one, concept one, the stitch and mend, which was maybe the least intense concept, the most popular features from this concept were the Beginner's Bay skate park, as well as the garden walk. In the second, Heart of the Park, the features that were favored was the connection to the McClellan Trail to the north, so creating an entrance and a like corridor coming into the park, and having some sort of like promenade entering into the park. The third concept, front and center, was the boldest in its physical changes to the park, and was also the boldest in meeting the sustainability goals, the sustainability guiding principle. And the most popular feature within this concept was the Utah Wildflower Walk. So we had never planned to just create one of these concepts. Our goal with presenting three different concepts was to get these, like, what do you feel best about these different concepts and what's presented? And we wanted to create something that blended those priorities. So the main takeaways from this engagement was first, a promenade with a double row of trees along Sugarmont Drive was the preferred streetscape for the pedestrian experience. We heard from so many people that they liked the idea of consolidating restrooms and having a combined pavilion, ranger station, maintenance shed in one single location rather than three separate restrooms and several pavilions across the park. And we also heard that community and park users wanted to maintain a similar number of parking stalls across the park. The top programming requests, so like ways to use the park, were pollinator gardens, the beginner's skate park, walking trails, some kind of market event plaza space, a pump track, and playground improvements. Okay, that one has a lot of words. So this, actually, before you all get caught up looking at that concept design and not listening to me, which is fine. I totally understand pictures are prettier than my words. But what I want to say is, as we started developing this final concept plan, we realized that we wanted to set a vision for the park. And we didn't have, even though we have like $8 million for these improvements, it wouldn't be enough to implement everything that we want to implement at Fairmont Park. And so I'm going to present first an overall concept plan, which is a vision for the park, but it does exceed the budget that we have. And so then I'm going to present our phase one priorities, and hopefully we can keep applying for funding and eventually implement the rest of the proposed improvements. But the way that we've tried to do the phase one is what we heard from community members as what their preferred improvements were, tried to prioritize that, and then also what makes sense construction wise, so that we can not have just like a piecemeal park, but try to combine features together. So first, the overall concept design. In the northwest corner here, where the tennis courts currently are, we have a parking grove as well as community gardens, which we would work with neighbors as well as organization, potentially Wasatch Community Gardens, to implement something of this sort. There's quite a bit of width here, and so we'd like to have community gardens be the first thing that people see, as well as some like art feature or like welcome feature here on this corner from Sugarmont and 900 East. And then parking, as well as a lot of landscaping, potential improvements to the stream, depending on capacity from Trails and Natural Lands. The Boys and Girls Club has a very sad playground for like their daycare, and as a part of this project, we will have a new like Boys and Girls Club play zone, so like a playground, and we're working with them to have that open to the public when it's not the Boys and Girls Club like hour time. So there's when they're operating, they'll need to have like the enclosure, but when they're not operating, like say on weekends, we're hoping to have that open to the public so anybody can enjoy that playground space. This opens up opportunity for that street-lined promenade on Sugarmont Drive. So a beautiful sidewalk, really, really prioritizing the pedestrian experience along Sugarmont Drive into the park. Next, we have the Play Patch extension. So the playground in the kind of middle north of the park will be expanded. Here in the center of the park, we have the Fairmont Hub, we're calling it, as well as the Ranger Station. So that would be a restroom, pavilion, Ranger Station, maintenance shed combined with a plaza. And I'll show some precedent images so you can visualize this better in just a moment. On the eastern side, we have the Scouts Boardwalk, enhancing the experience around the fireplace and creating an eastern front porch on that 1100 East side of the park. In this southeast corner, we have what we're calling the Wooded Ramble, which would be some kind of pump track around the already existing trees and space that's there. Around the volleyball, we have an enhanced hangout, so adding some more seating elements. And currently there's just sort of like a hillside, but not great opportunities to just sit there. So adding some kind of feature along there. 8, 9. Okay, now we're down here. Currently there's a parking lot down by kind of dividing the dog park. And in the overall concept, we've proposed removing that parking lot and expanding the dog park area. The area around the central lawn will have more of a delineation around it. So there'll be a lot more trails across Fairmont Park with varying levels of hierarchy. And by that, I mean, there's wider sidewalks in some areas that really communicate that this is the main like crossing points of the park. And then there's some smaller trails that are sort of like sub loops that you can do around the park. And one would be around this central lawn. Here we have the Utah Wildflower Walk as well as Nature Play. And so that would lead all the way up to the Play Patch, really adding a lot more native plants, native shrubs, a beautiful experience for people to wander around, but we'd also add some play features like logs and stumps that would be enjoyable for children, but honestly, for adults too. And it would be beautiful. 12, we have the pickleball expansion that would add 2 new courts. 13, this is the Beginners Bay Skate Park. So that would be where there's currently a restroom. This would be replaced by, there's a restroom and a playground. It would be replaced by a Beginners Bay skate area. The basketball court is next to the existing skate park, adjacent to the parking lot. And yeah, there's that. And then the southwest parking would be enhanced with more landscaping. Currently, it's just mostly asphalt and salt dome this time of the year. So we would work with public utilities to probably find a different place for the salt and add more landscaping to this parking. So this is the overall concept, as I said. Now I'm going to go piece by like section by section to show some precedent images to help you visualize what we're imagining, what it could look like. These are examples from other parks in different cities. And then I'll show the phase one improvements. So I did already talk about a lot of this, but we have the pedestrian and bike promenade along Sugarmont Drive. So here's down in this left corner is an example of what that could look like. Trees and landscaping on either side of the walkway. We'd have some kind of entry art feature as well as a wide planted buffer. Community gardens kind of at the center here, and the Boys and Girls Club play zone. So here's some examples of some nice, like more native plants for a planted buffer, parking grove, which would mean that there's landscaping inside of the parking, community garden, and then of course the play zone.
One thing about the community garden idea,
sure,
you mentioned Wasatch, but the library system has a person on staff that does that. They have one at the library, and they have seed libraries in all the libraries. They might be a potential partner.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're not, set on Wasatch Community Gardens. They've just done a lot across the city and are a strong partner. But we're very open to anybody who's interested in running that. And that's sort of in the next phase of things, the programming. It's in this phase of the project, but the programming coordination would be outside of the design, I guess. But yeah, thank you for that. Any other questions about this area? The other thing that I'll point out is that the parking to the east of the Boys and Girls Club is it's changed somewhat. So there's more limited parking there and increased landscaping. There's also, we're creating a better entrance or like walkway from the Boys and Girls Club into the park. Currently, their students or their kiddos have to like walk across the parking lot in order to get into the park. I am seeing that Sarah has her hand raised.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to check and see, just because I know we have talked about it before in the meetings, is this the rendering that would address the canal? It's just a really interesting, unmovable feature in this area, or is there another picture that would address the canal?
There's no other picture that I have addressing the canal, mostly because that would require a whole lot more detail and coordination. And so we're hoping to figure that out, but that would be more in the design phase of things, like the detailed design rather than the conceptual design.
Okay, thanks. So no plan for that at the moment.
At the moment.
Okay.
But there's definitely a lot of hope for something more there.
Hey, Kira, just while we're looking at, since this encompasses 2 of the 4 parking areas, and then the other one shows like the landscaping grove too. And then would there be any adjustments to the parking on the east side? And then just curious if you know like what the current number of stalls are, and then I think these improvements to make it more walkable, and the less we can promote people driving to the park, the better. But I'm just, in case it comes up in the future with the community, like how many spots we have currently, and then what these plans, how many spots would be available.
Yeah. It's a great question. I don't have the exact number right on the top of my mind. With the overall concept, I don't know that we actually lose any spots, or if we do, it would be like 10 to 20 spots that are lost in the overall concept, but with a hope to gain parking street side along Sugarmont Drive because we'd create a safer pedestrian bike corridor that would separate the cars from how the existing bike lane functions. And so there, if I remember correctly, and I'm sorry that I don't have this number off the top of my mind, it is taking a second to reboot back into work mode after being out of town for a while. Some of you might relate. But I want to say that there is, it's like net zero with parking. So there's some readjustments, but if there is a loss, it's like I said, 10 to 20 stalls.
Kira, in your last presentation, it was like 18 or something. It was not very
Okay.
many. Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Hey, Kira, is the
Yeah.
glass recycle bins, where are they going to be? Where's they going to be? In the same place or?
They're currently in the southwest parking lot, and
Right.
we don't have plans at this stage to move those
Okay.
to a different location.
Hey, Kira, I just want to tell you it's 6:30.
Oh,
So
thank you. I gotta keep moving. Thank you, Sally.
Sure.
Okay. We'll go through these next ones, yeah, with a little more quickness here. So here's the McClelland Trailhead. So this is what we're imagining with a pedestrian promenade. So it'd be like a textured pathway and trees on either side, a really beautiful like linear, it's like very clear visually where the center of the park is. And the hope for that is that we move a lot of people into that center of the park. We found in a lot of our analysis that the park usage predominantly is on the edges of the park. And we believe that by creating this hub in the center, it'll bring more people into the middle and hopefully create a stronger sense of safety there. Drop off and pickup is we're creating a little smaller roundabout. That's for Youth City to be able to maintain that like usability for them. The central gathering plaza, here's a picture of it and a precedent example. So have some like movable chairs and tables, trees. So there's plenty of shade. Once again, sort of a textured plaza area that would be safe and strong enough for, say, food trucks to come and park or for vendors to set up tents and encourage kind of like a market type feel in that area. Okay, next is the ranger station restrooms, and here's kind of an example of having some sort of pergola connecting the buildings to each other. The restrooms would be this building on the west side, and then the ranger maintenance would be the building on the east side, and the windows or the doors would face each other and be linked up through some form of a pergola shaded structure. Okay, now the next part, we have the play patch extension, which could look a number of different ways. And once again, that kind of is a feature more of the detailed design, figuring out what kind of park playground features we're looking for, accessibility and age wise. The Utah Wildflower Walk and Nature Play, be colorful, have plants that grow well in this climate, use less irrigation, and encourage just a more natural play opportunities rather than a structured one. The central gathering lawn would still, it's often used for sports, and we don't want to take away those opportunities. It would just create a more like delineated path around it and opportunities for other folks to be able to picnic and enjoy their time in that space. Here's an example of what we're imagining with seating around the volleyball. The material we don't have figured out yet, but here's kind of like an example of how there's some seats in a volleyball pit. The 6, this is actually one of the edits I need to make. Here they call it a native ramble. In another place we call it a wooded ramble. This picture is a little bit hard to tell, but this is a pump track, and based on the location of where ours would be, there'd be a lot more trees around it as well. And the Scouts Boardwalk and Eastern Front Porch, just imagining a lot more seating opportunities, more plants, grasses, and like a clear pathway for where it is appropriate to walk and wander, and where it's supposed to be more plants and kind of an observation boardwalk. Yes, Sarah.
Hey, would the paths around the soccer fields be concrete? Are we looking to add a lot of concrete there, or would they be chippy, or do we know?
We haven't explored the materials yet, but there would be a mix in the park of probably the concrete paths as well as like the chat, so the kind of like gravel, tight gravel. And there's different forms of like aggregates for that. And so they're more permeable and absorb any rainwater that we receive if we ever receive it again. Did that answer your question, Sarah?
Yeah, just curious. Like, yeah, if all those white things were concrete, it would be interesting, but it sounds like they might not be.
Yeah, they won't
Okay.
they won't all be concrete. Yeah. Yeah, there's some areas where it's definitely appropriate to have concrete and it's the most accessible option. But we don't want to add too much pervious service to the park. All right, down on the southwest corner, the existing fields remain. Sorry, I should start with number one. Pickleball expansion. We know what pickleball looks like. We'd expand it by 2 courts. Beginners based skate zone. That would be a lot more family friendly and beginner friendly for the skating. That's something that we heard quite a bit about. The basketball court, full-size court with seating opportunities and hopefully lighting as well in that area. Parking grove, as I already mentioned, would be more landscaped. And then along 900 East, trying to find a more native edge to that. And so there's trees that would remain, but the lawn that is currently there, hopefully replacing with more native water-wise landscaping.
Hey, Kira, did you retain a pavilion for the pickleball players to wait at? Like, is that square on by number one?
This right here.
Yeah.
You know,
there was going to be like maybe like a waiting place, but I
yeah,
don't see it exactly. So
I want to say that this sort of arc there is what we imagine to be seating near the
Okay.
pickleball as well.
Okay. Okay.
But we are in the overall concept removing the pavilion that's in that area.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question. All right, so here is the proposed phase 1 improvements. And so all of what I just shared is applicable here, but these are where we'll focus the money that we have currently available. So we'll focus on all the improvements that we've proposed at the north edge, as well as coming into the park with that promenade and event space, the central gathering plaza, the ranger station restrooms, pergola space. The native Utah wildflower walk and nature play leading up to the playground, the eastern front porch area, and still trying to figure out what to do exactly with the Scouts boardwalk and fireplace, but something along those lines. The beginners skate park zone, as well as the basketball court, which has its own specific funding. So there's a few features here, like the specific delineation of this lawn, the removal of the south parking lot and the expansion of the dog park, the seating around the volleyball, the wooded ramble. Those we would hope to find additional funding for in the future, as well as the expansion of native plantings around the edge of the existing fields. Do I have any questions. I just had to make sure that wasn't anything more
I'm
there.
going to suggest that we try to keep our comments and questions fairly short. I'd like to call on Lori Bray also, because she is working with the art projects that are supposed to go into this. So
Hello.
does anyone have a question first before we go to Lori? Ari? Okay, looks like we're good.
Hey, this is Sarah. I just want to make sure, Kira, thank you so much. It's exciting. It's cool to see the prioritization. And I just want to say the whatever the Scout fire pit just continues to have to be something we plan to deal with, and we can't just have it be fenced. So hopefully it'll be mixed into that 7 somewhere. So
yeah, thank you
want to advocate for that one, or at least a mitigation plan. We've got a long year of fencing ahead.
I'm with you, Sarah. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, and I'd love to have more conversation with that, like we talked about before the break. So,
okay, Laurie.
Well, I don't really have a lot of information to share, except we had, I think it was 26 artists apply. And when they apply for a public art project, they give 10 examples of their work, previous public art they've created, a proposal, not a specific proposal about what they want to do, just an idea. And then of course there are credentials. And so last week we narrowed it down to 3 artists, and they'll be meeting with the Salt Lake Art Board, and then they'll give us proposals. And Kira was part of that meeting. Anyway, some really exciting ideas and lots of super talented artists. And I'm sure we're going to have a great piece of art. Don't you think, Kira?
I do. I'm excited. Yeah, it's amazing the level of creativity that folks bring. And sorry if you did mention this, but it was a Utah specific call. And so all the artists who applied were local to Utah. Sometimes they do like nationwide or worldwide calls, but this was a Utah call.
Nice. There's a question where the art might go, and I have a question about how is it funded? Is that piece of this funded?
It is funded. The concept is for it to include both McClelland and Fairmont Park. So it's not just going to be one piece. I mean, that's the concept. So that's what I hope we end up selecting.
Yeah, the request that we made was for something that like draws the McClelland or connects the McClelland Trail to Fairmont Park. And this next phase, now that we've like selected 3 artists, they'll create concepts, and then we'll get to vote from there, depending on how we feel about the concepts. We being like the jury, the selection committee, as like their creativity. And this art is fully funded already. So it has funding from both transportation leftover funds that they had from the McClelland Trail, and within the bond, there's specific art or money that's allocated for art
and
outside of the Fairmont Park project.
And interestingly, the artist can actually go ahead and begin with McClelland, even though Fairmont Park is not ready for the art. So that's going to be very interesting to watch, I think.
Will there be more than one art? You've narrowed it down to 3, but then from there, do you go to just 1, or will all 3 be participating in a different project?
Just 1, and all 3 of them are actually teams of 2 people.
Oh.
So yeah, but it will be narrowed down to just 1.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you, Laurie, for being on that committee. It's really like I think the art design board is incredible, and I love that they have representation from each of the districts, but it's really neat that you're a part of that specifically as a
thank you.
a known Fairmont Park enthusiast.
It was super fun, and you heard my strong opinions on a couple things, but
I was with you. Yeah,
I know.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Kira,
what's
Richard
next?
here.
Kira, what's our timeline? Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
Separately, there's been talk about holding events at Fairmont Park. And it would behoove the plan to have recommendations about the capacity for such programming in order to accommodate that and to be able to make judicious decisions about what to approve and what not to approve. And if you're going to have food truck stuff, you probably want to put in underground infrastructure for electrical so they can plug in, because food trucks are noisy as hell. And that's not a great thing for parks.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, all the infrastructure is a part of this detailed design phase. And to answer Sarah's question, now we begin detailed design, and that can take some time. So right now we're working through an expanded contract with Civitas, who's our consultant with this. They're creating a team of sub-consultants with these, now that we know like what we're wanting to design and design for construction. Specialized sub-consultants. This project is seeking site certification. SITES is a sustainable landscape certification, which enhances, honestly, the project experience, making sure that we're meeting sustainable goals, which is good for park users and good for the surrounding community and ultimately the planet. So I'm excited about that. That's in following a policy that the city passed the other year, that any project with any park project over $2 million construction needs to follow that. And Sarah, it's SITES, SITES. For some reason it's spelled all caps, but I haven't found it to be an acronym. But sustainable sites. It's similar to LEED. If you know about LEED for buildings, it's like that, but for landscapes. Anyway, so we're working through the finalizing that expanded contract with Civitas, and then we'll begin the detailed design. And that generally takes several months. So we go through different review periods where we make sure that all the public utilities comments are covered, and engineering and external utilities, etc. But I anticipate having bid documents by this fall and going to bid fall time, with a hope to begin construction winter of 26 or like winter of 27.
Thank you. And then when will you publish that document you showed us?
I should publish it no later than next week. I just need to get those edits. They're just some pretty minor wording edits.
And then will you share that web address with me one more time? I know it's the Salt Lake City Parks. It'll just be on that website, or?
Yes. Yeah, the Fairmont Park improvement page.
Okay.
Yeah, can you send it to us?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
I had a quick question. You mentioned a couple different options for the community garden. I was just wondering what's the best way to like stay informed and get involved in that process kind of as it's developing.
That is a great question, and I don't have a great answer for you. Feel free to email me, and I'm happy to keep you in touch with that. And I just put the link to the project page in the chat.
We do have, as you probably know, Kira, some history with a community garden in this park, and had some good things and some bad things and some controversial things, and so hopefully this time we'll make a better run at it.
Yeah, I think from my understanding, last time the community gardens were in the same spot, but there was a lot of water issues. There was no irrigation out there.
Right.
So there was some siphoning from the stream, and this time there would be specific irrigation and all that, and the known partner. Also, I just looked at that project page. It is a little outdated, so I'll also update that. You can tell I've been out of town.
Hey, Kira, I also think you have described a couple things like the canal, the scout circle. You're going to need input. So any thoughts about when you might reach out? We don't want this to go dark. right?
Yeah.
Until fall. It just seems like there's still some
Totally.
questions. So just welcome any thoughts about that. You don't have to have them tonight, but I think we should hopefully be in dialogue before then, hopefully.
Yeah, yes, definitely. And I really appreciate you always being willing to keep that dialogue open, and I will use that.
And we can, of course, accommodate some of that through this post committee, but it'd be nice to have another community meeting at some point, or something that people can just come in and ask questions and see what's
Sure.
going on. Knowing that, that we're past taking, design ideas. We're moving on.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Kara,
Yes, I just put a
Is-
different link that's a little bit more updated. Go ahead.
is the pond going to remain the same?
The pond will remain the same. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it received improvements not too long ago, so we'll continue to encourage that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, thank you all for your help. We couldn't do this obviously without all of your input.
It's a very exciting project. It's going to be fun to watch it take shape. I assume the park will not be closed totally while construction's going on. You'll just be closing off certain
Sections.
areas, whatever you're working on.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
we-
don't have like that plan for construction hasn't been developed yet, but yeah, with how large the park is, we could do it in sections.
Very good. That's good. Okay, if we still have about 10 minutes. I'd like to move on quickly and just get an update from each of you from your areas. Wida, do you have anything new going on in Allen Park?
Well, we are closed for, I don't know, 2-3 months until whenever they get the water line in completed. It's a huge mess of just giant asphalt piles and muddy, huge sand piles, big backhoes, crews in there every day, Monday through Friday, all day. But some of the hydrants, you can see them starting to come up. I mean, I feel like they're moving pretty quickly. I think the road's going to be more ripped up than I imagined it would be. I mean, the asphalt was horrible anyway, so I don't know what it'll look like when they're all done, but there will be a path that like wheelchairs will be able to get to the back and things like that. So that'll be an improvement. And then the next thing will be volunteers. We'll be able to have more doing things like with instructions and all organized into zones, but people can take over a specific area to water, like watering trees, managing invasive weeds. Hopefully there'll be some new planting going on that isn't in the areas that'll get beat up when construction happens. But they've been good to the peacocks so far, so they're just going about their day like they probably would anyway. So that's really good. And I think that's about it. I need to coming to this meeting made me think for another one. I need to ask Amy, who's our project manager person for phase 1, like, okay, when the water line's in, then what? Like, what comes next?
And do you have any idea timeline on finishing up that water line?
They originally said like 3 months, so that would be like the end of February or something, but you never know. So
yeah. Well, I guess a silver lining for our warm winter is that they can continue working.
Oh yeah. They have not had any days where they couldn't work. Yeah, so far. So yeah.
So that's good. Okay, very good. All right, Eric McGill, do you have anything from the peanut board?
Not a whole lot. We just had our first meeting of the year, and there's several new members on there, so that'll be good. It'll be a little more of a robust board this year. Not a whole lot. As some of you who were on earlier, I had some questions, and we did have a small meeting a few months ago just about the CIP process. We did our first review of that towards the end of the year, a few months ago. And I would love to see more of a strategy going forward of projects that we in District 7 that we want to make sure we're advocating for and getting coverage for with the city. So I hopefully not tonight, but in the coming months, that would be a subject for this board or this committee to discuss a little bit more CIP for this coming year.
Okay, I'll make a note of that. That's a good idea. Okay, and I see Roxy had to get off. She wasn't able to get her her audio working right. So she's the Sugar House Park Authority president this year. But Richard, do you have anything briefly to tell us about Sugar House Park?
I mean, we were talking obviously about the funding, the counties cutting back, so that'll delay capital improvements in our park. They've delayed ZAP, which further delays improvements in the park. So we're probably really looking realistically at a 10-year capital improvement program for the park. There's also the hotel issue, which the land use committee of the council has been more involved with. There is an alternative being proposed for the site involving a bunch of people in the community, including me, and it will be submitted to Maverick on the off chance that city council does not approve a hotel, and believing there should be next steps rather than having a eyesore on the corner of the park. And I really like one thing in the Fairmont plan about that very first point about a welcoming entry into the community, which we'll have to steal and put in our proposal. Some more edits for that, but that's primarily what's going on with the park.
Are there going to be is there any money for replacing any more pavilions this year?
No.
No.
That's the county. Last year there was, or 2 years ago, there was the vote for the public safety building, which was not approved. And since then, the county's gotten really gun shy about funding stuff.
Okay.
And so they also feel like the other parks in the county have needs, and Sugar House has been getting a disproportionate share. So they've proposed that we look at ZAP to do that. And again, ZAP won't be on the ballot. I mean, it might be on the ballot this year, and that would mean funding calls in 27 and decisions in 28. So like I said, we're looking at a 10-year horizon for doing stuff.
Okay.
So sorry, Sally.
No, go ahead, Eric.
Here was my issue, Richard. So the CIP money, Salt Lake City, would have to be spent within like the calendar year. If
That's
we're not getting
how
that,
it works. The CIP money doesn't have to be spent in the calendar year.
Okay,
It
great.
can hold over. I mean, the first pavilion, it's embarrassing, but the first redo of the pavilion, that money was sitting there for like 3 or 4 years until the county could get it together. I mean, part of the delay was COVID, but no, the money does not have to be spent in that calendar year.
It's my understanding, though, that it used to be that way, but now they've kind of changed that because it's hard to get contractors and hard to, so they've stopped that, the 1 year thing. But that was the case, Eric, I believe, sometime back maybe before COVID.
Great. Good, because that would be our only District 7 park,
right?
CIP project.
Yeah, and the counties county parks are in discussion with city about CIP planning, and like one of our projects is to do a new expanded playground. Is one of the playgrounds is nearing its end of life, and that's a $3 or $4 million project. We want to get planning money for it, and then again, that helps us do philanthropic work as well. So we're not sitting still despite these setbacks. There's a lot of stuff going on. It takes, like with this Fairmont Park project, the stuff ends up taking years, and that's what we have to do. And we don't have quite the same resources. You know, we're sort of an orphan child for both the city and the county when it comes to access to planning resources. So that's an issue.
Yeah, yep. Okay, and then I just briefly, I don't know if any of you've noticed, but I think you do know I sit on the Pratt board, the Parley's Rails and Trails bicycle trail that goes from the mouth of Parley's Canyon all the way to the Jordan River Parkway. And I just wanted to let you know that they've put some signage up now. So if you're driving under those bridges on 215, you'll see it says, now finally says Parley's Trail. And the one over 23rd says Parley's Trail. We've been working on this for literally years because we kept being told, no, it's part of the highway, whatever, the big highway plan, and you're not allowed to put signs on bridges over, you know, state freeway systems. And so finally got it done. So if you look up as you're going that way, you'll see it says Parley's Trail on it, which is really kind of nice. And we've also started painting stencil signs on the actual trail itself so that when people are riding their bikes or jogging or running, they know, oh, I'm on the Parley's Trail right now. So that's small things, but you know, it's little things that make it nice. So there you go.
Sally,
Anybody else? Yeah. I just want to
say one thing about Parley.
I just have to say, Antiques Roadshow starting. And
All
it's
right.
from Salt Lake City.
Oh,
so
no.
keep it brief.
PBS Passport. There should be signage, more signage on the streets.
Yes, and we're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working on that. The other thought we had, because we have funds, was some bicycle repair stations, but I guess those get vandalized immediately.
Right.
As soon as you put them in, the tools get stolen. So we're not going to do that. So, okay.
Hey, Sally, I just had two things for Fairmont. One is that we are still in process of maybe getting a new car charger. We have a vandalized car charger for a year at Fairmont, and I guess we're still trying to get a new one. So they're looking for a new model. I'm surprised. And then number two is we had taken up all the plants behind the rose garden, and they were going to do sprinkler work. That should happen in the next 2 weeks. And then we can have a discussion about, what gets planted behind that. They'll probably chip it, but then I think we have an opportunity to think about planting. And if maybe Blake or somebody has good ideas about what plants would work there, because it's, it's that weird space between the aquatic center and the roses. So two updates for us. Thank you.
I'll be so glad to not have it be muddy out there. Why?
I just have a quick question for Richard. So there's a group that is coming up with a proposal for where the hotel is proposed to be. Are they presenting that that's this idea to the council before they vote? So
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so they know that there's another option out there, maybe.
Sarah Young has been great, and she's really the one facilitating the work with the council. But we're trying to show we're not against a hotel per se, just one at that particular location. And people like Landon of the council, they're concerned. As Landon said, he doesn't want the site to become the next Fairmont tennis courts. So we have a really exciting alternative. We've been working on it for a couple months. And it's not, Sarah Young has seen drafts. It'll be transmitted to them, and hopefully by the end of the month, there'll be a website for it so people can look at it and comment.
Cool.
Very good.
Awesome.
Good. All right.
Hey, last thing, I recommend we do a West Side field trip to the new park in Glendale. Maybe we should do a post-field trip.
Yeah.
Brilliant idea.
That's a great idea. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. Kira, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Sally.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Go watch Antiques Roadshow. It's Salt Lake City, Red Butte Garden.
Oh.
Thank you.